All right, everybody, welcome to Shop Talk Tuesday Live. What we're going to be doing first, before we get into that whole gas crisis thing, we're going to be pouring some epoxy. All right, so let's get to it. Just going to adjust it down just a touch. So bear with me. All right, if you guys who are here want to chime in, tell me where you're chiming in from. We're just going to hop right into it. And then after this, we're going to get to some Q&A, all right? Where you guys can feel free to ask some questions. I'll do my best to answer. As we always do, we're going to be using some Incredible Solutions epoxy. And we're actually going to be mixing up some P1010 Pearl. Richard said, hey, Nathan from Michigan and John from Texas. How's it going? We're going to go ahead and mix up. If you can see, I'll show you guys real quick. We're going to be pouring a charcuterie board for a customer, some black walnut, and some pearl. So we'll go ahead and mix up some epoxy first. So it's going to take about a gallon, and this is 1.5 gallon kit. And when you go to pour, you want to start mixing up your epoxy. You always want to pour the hardener first. The reason is it's thinner and it wants to float on top of the epoxy. When you go to mix it, it wants to splash out. And we just don't want that. It creates a lot of mess. So we're going to pour about 48 ounces. So we'll do 16 hardener. It's a 2-to-1 mixture. So we'll do 16 ounces of hardener, part B. All right. And then we'll go ahead and mix up some epoxy. We'll do 32 ounces. Which will get us to that 48 ounce mark. I don't know if you saw that drop in there, but that was a piece of lid fell in there. All right. Let's go ahead and start mixing, and we will see where we are from there. I'm going to get you guys a little bit closer here so you can see. Hopefully you can see just a little bit. Give me a second here. Oh, hey, there we go. Sorry guys, give me a second. All right. We'll go ahead and start mixing up. Look at that drill mixer, man. She nasty. She still works really well though. Go ahead and mix this up for just a few minutes. Now when you're mixing, make sure you go slow. At first, scrape the sides and the bottom so that you get a really good mixture with no soft spots in the epoxy. You want to keep everything mixed. All right, if you guys can see the difference between the two, I don't know if you can, but this one looks really clear and this one still looks cloudy. When you're mixing, you just want to make sure it's not cloudy anymore. Just continue mixing until you can't see any more cloudiness. Right. Now I'm gonna go ahead and mix up some of this pearl pigment. All I'm gonna do here, I don't want it to be translucent at all. I want it to be opaque. So I'll get about that much in there. Same amount in here. And we'll go ahead and mix that up. Now, this is one thing I learned too. Make sure that you plunge it on top. So Jennifer says, how long after mixing do you have before it starts reacting? Now, this is casting epoxy, so this has a much longer open working time than tabletop epoxy. But you don't want to leave it in the bucket because it can start generating heat. You want to get this done as fast as possible with being careful. You don't want to rush it. Start right here, put it right on there, and start spinning that pigment in there. You just don't want it to puff up in your face. And if you can see, there's like some clumps and stuff. Just make sure we stir it until there's no more clumps. go. Slide this one to the side. Let's see if we can get that one. Okay. So go ahead and, ooh, hey. So if you see in there, you really don't want to get any clumps, all right? Now what you see, if you see those like particles, that's mostly bubbles from me really spinning it up high. And if you do get a clump in the form when you pour, that's okay. Just take your finger and get it on out of there. All right, let's move you on over here. All right, I'm gonna grab this piece, set that down in there. Grab that piece, set that down in there. I got a couple of blocks. All right, here we go. So we're going to go ahead and clamp these down. You don't need to have a whole lot of force on these clamps. Just want to make sure that the wood doesn't float. Come on, clamp. There we go. All right, you guys see that side is lifted up just a little bit over there. if you can't see, right here. Once I get done pouring, I'll come over here and put a bar going across both so it puts even pressure down. But as far as the video goes, we'll go ahead and pour now so you can see. That way the bars are not in the way. That one's flat. This one's got a little bit of raise up in it. All right, let's pour. All right, guys, this is what I'm talking about here. I don't know if you guys can see, but if you see right in the middle, there's a piece of unmixed pigment kind of to the bottom right of the cup. We'll go ahead and get rid of that right now. You just take your finger, dip it right in there, just like I did, and you're good to go. Wipe it on your tool bench. No, just kidding, don't do that. All right, so let's go ahead and pour. One thing I forgot to mention too is you want to make sure that your form is level. That way the epoxy doesn't go to one, so it's not higher on one side than it is on the other. All right, if you guys can tell, it's a little bit low. So I'm gonna mix up just a little bit more epoxy. And I'm gonna fill in this spot here and kind of get it up almost to the top. You know, we'll plane this down a little bit, save some epoxy, but I do want to get some here. I definitely want to get some of that inclusion over there. So we'll go ahead and bring this over here. We're gonna mix up a little bit more epoxy. Oh, and guys, I'm gonna go do my best to get back to your comments and such. When we get done with this whole pour, it'll be a Q&A sesh. How about that? So we're gonna mix up another 24 ounces. So we'll do 8. Eight ounces of hardener. And 16 ounces of epoxy, which gives me 24 more ounces. Now I heard on a recent video, I can't remember who produced it, but they said that if you add too much hardener, it'll set too quickly. To err on the side of too much hardener, but with epoxy, that's not true. You want to err on the side of less hardener. Now, and I don't mean that like you want to do your best to get the exact amount of hardener that you need, okay? But if you're a little bit shy, it's better to be over. And that's because if you put too much hardener, it won't fully harden. Isn't that weird? It stays soft, it stays flexible. Whereas if it has a little bit less, eventually it will harden. Remember to hold on to your cup too. That way it doesn't spin away from you. All right, let's put a little bit more. We're not going to go so crazy this time because it's a little bit less. So I did just about half of a spoonful with this stuff. You can see this is our medium size. It's our 4 ounces, and I still have a ton in there. This is you can use this for several projects. This is the medium size. We actually have a 9-ounce one as well. You know, for those guys doing a lot of projects. This is the way I clean off my drills right here. Okay, let's get you guys set up back over here. All right. First things first, let's get these inclusions. All I'm doing is trying to find some places where a little bit of bark inclusion. It's just less hassle later on when you go to do this. We're going to go ahead and leave it just shy of the top. That way we can plane down to the epoxy and we won't be wasting a whole lot, because epoxy does shrink. When it cures. And you notice I'm not I'm not scraping it out of the bucket. And the reason why I'm doing that is because, the reason why I'm not doing that is because we don't want the unmixed epoxy to get into our stuff. All right? Give you kind of an example of what it's going to look like. Look at that. Looks so good. See, now with casting epoxy, you don't need to pop the bubbles unless you want to. I usually just let it set up, and we're pretty good most of the time. Here. Whoa. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, it looks super great. Okay. All right, guys. Woo. Hey, how are you? We're gonna go ahead and get over to the computer. That way I can start answering some of your questions. All right. Let me walk over there real quick. I said walk. I'm literally running across the shop. All right, guys. Flip it around here so you guys can see. And we will get to some comments. What do you think? Yeah, guys. I know you guys are saying a lapel mic would be great for the future. And that is, I have one. However, I haven't had a time to set it up. I do have one though. All right, let's get to some comments. So John says hi from Texas. Anthony says, hey, how are you doing? You get affected by the gas? And yes, we'll get to talking about that in just a second. William says, get to mixing. Woo woo. David says hi from Louisiana. Jennifer says hello from New Hampshire. Richard Collins says your focus needs focusing. You're a bit fuzzy. Sorry about that. Anthony says, all good. Glad I caught you live. What's up, Anthony? Jeremy P says, still here in Indiana. What's up, Jeremy? How you doing, man? Long time no see. Jennifer says, how long after mixing? Well, we got to that question earlier. Anthony says, do you have an Instagram? Anthony, I do. If you guys go over to Instagram, you can go to Goodview Woodworks, at Goodview Woodworks. And that's my Facebook page and my Instagram page. So you guys can check them out both there. Bruce says, hi. Hey, Bruce. And Jeremy says you need a wireless microphone. Yeah. Now, I do have a lavalier or a lapel mic. I got to take some time to get that thing figured out. I just got it, and I'm actually pretty excited to use it. Actually, I didn't just get it. My dad got it for me, I think, last year. But I just busted it out of its package just the other day to get it all set up. John, what's up? Hit me up with a $10 super chat. Hey, John, I appreciate that. A lapel mic would be great for future investment. This isn't enough to buy one, but I'm sure you can put it to good use. He said out it, but that is okay because he made up with it for the next comment. Anthony says, where can I order? Hey, Anthony, what do you mean, where can you order? If you're talking about like a charcuterie board or something like that, you can hit me up on Instagram at Goodview Woodworks. We can work something out there. And also, Facebook, you can do that as well, or my website at goodviewwoodworks.com. You can go send me a direct message over there as well. Lone Wolf says, brother, we have gas shortages here in Ontario. We're being affected by that Michigan winch. I tell you what, Lone Wolf. Yeah, so at lunchtime we had some guys from work go out to get gas, and they couldn't get anything. Like they had all the gas pumps blocked, and they had one open, and they had like a line of 6 or 8 people. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. Luckily, I filled up last week, so I have almost a full tank of gas. So that's pretty good. And then one of the other guys that works with us, I gave him a gas can. I think I had 2 gallons of gas that I had near the car that I'm working on. And I said, here's 2 gallons of gas, because he was on E, like below the E. And I gave him a couple gallons so he could make it home. And he said on the way home, he was next in line for the gas station and pulled up, and they ran out of gas. Like their tanks were empty. It's crazy. So yeah, nuts. Anthony, he's talking about the pigments. Where can he order the pigments? If you go to goodviewwoodworks.com, you'll see the pigments there. Select the store and then go down to the epoxy, and you'll see all of our pigments. We have almost 50 colors on there to choose from. Bruce says, just joined in. What's doing? That's a nice white. What's the color? So, Bruce, the color is pearl. It's P1010, and if you go on my website, you can go see that. It's P1010 pearl. It's a really nice color. Renee Porter says hello from Virginia Beach. Hey, Mom, how are you? Jennifer says, hey, Renee. William says, build a wooden plane or a Flintstone car. Well, you know what's funny? What I'm working on is a Ford Festiva. It's pretty close to a Flintstone car. Richard Collins says, hello, Mama Porter. And she says, hey, Jennifer, glad to see you. And hello, Richard Collins. All right, guys. So, yeah, I'm glad you guys were here to see me pour one of my customers' charcuterie boards live. This one's actually going to be pretty cool. The handle's going to be made into it or built into it. It's not going to be like a handle that comes off, but like a groove so you can grab it. And so that'll be pretty nice, is what they asked for. We also have a lot of things coming up. I don't know if you guys saw the part 1 of the samurai sword holder, but that is coming up. That purple was legit. That's my favorite. I don't like purple, but that color is really awesome. It's called Reef. I would like to use that on something of my own, actually. That's pretty cool. Also, tonight I was welding up the legs for our coffee table, which we have a video. We have part 1 of that video up. It's been a little bit since I've been able to get to it. Obviously, personal stuff gets put behind. But we're working on part 2, and that's where we're finishing the top, and we're gonna be welding up the legs and getting that completed. That way, part 2, you can have a completed project. It's actually looking pretty dope. And also, I'll have the cost of everything listed so you can see how much it costs to make one of these tables. My cost, not including, it wouldn't be including something I would charge somebody else, just my cost. William says, dang, that was some nasty gas coming out of that thing. Yeah, he's talking, so on Patreon, if you guys want to go check me out over on patreon.com, go to patreon.com/goodviewwoodworks, and you can see our Patreon page. And I've been posting up some videos over there. I have this little car that I bought for like $400 to drive around because gas prices were getting so high. And it's carbureted. I've been working through it. I finally got it running out of a gas can. But it had 10 gallons almost of nasty fuel. Had been sitting in there for probably 15 years. I think the inspection sticker on there said like 96 or 2006 or something. I don't know. It's been a long time. It's been sitting. I think it said 2004. I don't know. Somewhere on there. It's been 15 years or more that it's been sitting. So it had some nasty gas in there, and I'm siphoning it out of its gas tank into a gas can. And so that's what William Wagman's talking about. It looked like tea. It was like the color of tea or like really watery coffee. It was pretty nasty. Bruce says, get those bubbles out of your job. Yeah, when it comes to bubbles and when I pour, I don't actually go back and torch it. And that's because you're going to be adding heat to that epoxy. I want it to set really slowly so the bubbles have time to rise to the surface and pop on their own. So I don't actually go and pop them. They release on their own. I haven't had any problems. What you can do though is bubbles like to sit on, like where the river is, on the edge. You can take your glove finger and run it down the edge to release those bubbles. That's one thing I would recommend doing, just to get those bubbles to release. But ultimately what we want to do, and this is why we don't seal the edges, is we want that epoxy to take a long time to soak into that wood. Because the longer it's liquid and it soaks in that wood, the stronger the bond. And I just had a table separate on me, which we're gonna have a video coming up about that, how I'm gonna fix it. It's separated on, it's a big conference table, and it's separated right at the river, where the edge of the slab meets the river. And so we're gonna go and fix that. And the reason why I did that is because I sealed those edges, and that was the last time that I'm gonna do that, which was a couple years ago. Now I haven't had any problems with things coming apart now that I don't seal the edges anymore. Okay. So I don't know how to pronounce that name. Sorry about that. So thank you for the comment. I don't even know what it actually says besides bro, sorry. And then Renee says, love the reef color. It turned out beautifully. And she also says used cars are selling for a lot of money recently. That is true. Jennifer says, with such an opaque pigment, you wouldn't see the bubbles anyhow, right? Not necessarily, but if you do have bubbles in it, you'll see it in the pigment. The pigment wants to form around the bubble. So you can kind of see it'll look like speckles. That's what you want to get away from, are those. Anthony says, I had bubbles before on coasters. You're a pro though. Yes, I've had bubbles before too. Now when it comes to like that kind of stuff, remember, I don't know, Anthony, what type of epoxy that you had, but if you're pouring thick or even thin, really, to bring the temperature down, you want that epoxy to take a long time to set up. Incredible Solutions sets up about 3 days before it's ready to be pulled out of the mold, so it has a lot of time to really soak into that edge. So Madagazi, the Browns, it says, is the post-COVID wood prices affecting you? By the way, you do some great work. Hey, great question. Thank you for asking. No, well, yes and no. So the MDF prices haven't gone up a lot, and that's what I use to build my forms. And the slab prices haven't gone up that I know of yet either. It's mostly dimensional lumber, which doesn't affect me too much. But the MDF prices have gone up a little bit, but not nearly as much as all the other building materials like plywood and dimensional lumber, things like that. So personally, in my house, yes, building materials gone up, but as far as the epoxy and woodworking, not a whole lot. And Renee, my mom says marhaba means welcome. So thank you. Sorry, I'm not too smart on that stuff. Or hello. So thanks, Mom. Appreciate it. All right, guys. Well, look, it's been fun. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. Also, guys, go check out Patreon if you want to support the channel. It's a great place to support, and I'm doing my best to really post some stuff on there, like other than epoxy stuff, so more like personal life stuff, other projects that I'm working on, things like that. I tend to do a lot of what they call lenses, and that's kind of like on Instagram, like an Instagram story. So that's what I try to do on there. If you guys want to see some other stuff, like behind the scenes stuff, so other things I'm working on, I try to post on there as much as possible. If you want to support this channel, go over there and support. Also, if you want to buy some pigments like that pearl, go to goodviewwoodworks.com. We have a bunch of pigments over there. Also, we have tape. I don't know if you saw the form before we poured, but we have Goodview Woodworks tape, and that is a mold release.
If you see most of these people doing epoxy river pours, they use Tyvek tape or tuck tape or something similar to that. Goodview Woodworks tape is different in the fact that it's 2 inches wide, 3 inches wide, where most of them are 2 inches wide. It's the same length, and also it's several dollars cheaper per roll. So you're actually getting more tape for less money. And so I was trying to come up with something to help us in the epoxy and woodworking community, so we're not spending so much money, try to help it a little bit, and this is what I came up with. So if you guys want to get some of that, you can find that on my website as well. And last but not least, you can go over and check out Instagram and Facebook. I tend to post a few things that are different, and also sneak peeks of stuff before the video comes out. And I'm doing my best to post twice a week. I mean, once live stream every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7:15. And also I try to post sometime during the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, something like that. One of those days, one of the projects that we're working on. So if you guys want to check me out, please do that. Please watch as many videos as you can. One, to learn something, also to support your boy. And with that being said, guys, I'm going to head out. I'm going to go home. I've had enough work for this for tonight. I don't know if you can tell, I look a little tired. I'm trying to get all this stuff knocked out and go see my wife and my babies. All right? Love you guys. I mean it. And I will catch you on the next one. Good night.